Well, we should
All right.
have.
Nope, it's too late. Already starting. Welcome to another episode of Challing the Boys. I'm your host, Steven Chalicum. You can follow me and the show on Twitter at ChallyATB. And joining with me tonight are both of the co-hosts, Will and Josh. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Better than
Good,
last week.
good. Got it.
Yeah, it was a good weekend, good week for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
It's actually a
Um,
better night for the Dallas Cowboys since I don't know the Kayvon Thibodeau of the Giants just went down, serious injury.
oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't
Are
hear
you,
that.
are you,
I
are you
haven't seen that.
spreading fake news?
Nope.
Oh, I figured. Figured. Yeah, I mean that's. I mean that's the number one thing coming out of preseason, right? Can
Staying healthy.
you make it? Can you as many of your 53 make it as you want? You know.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, Will. Since everything is a giant surprise around here, what do you have for us? What are your takeaways from the preseason matchup or week of practice? What do you got for us?
Uh, well, like I was just saying when we first started, I only watched the first half. That wasn't just by design. I just all I had a time to watch. So everything I say will be based off just that alone. I will watch the second half. Probably tonight. Uh, it was really tough. I mean, obviously, I'll take the obvious thing out of the way. I don't even know how to say the guy's name, but he's making the team.
Cavante
Turpin?
Turpin.
No, that's just the easy, pathetic, weak-minded people. That's what they think right away. I'm talking about Israel Mukwamu.
Kwame.
That's
Kwame.
he's making a team, man.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
what I took. That's what I took away.
I actually don't know that anybody on this podcast, fucking video cast, or the fuck thing's called. I don't think anybody has said that he wouldn't. Right? I think the only person here that has made any comment about the safeties is myself, and that was Donovan Wilson being cut.
No, yeah, I'm just saying he's making the team now. I'm not saying he
No
wasn't
dropping any
before,
breaking
whatever.
news though,
I think he looked really good. From they're saying he's starting to get some snaps at corner now. Also,
which is gross.
he's good on special team, or he can, he's that's how he makes his way, right? So that's
Yeah.
that's what I took away.
I think he needed be going into camp based off of like what his limited action last year. He probably would have been a player that needed to not have a bad camp to not make the team. So him
Yeah.
having a good camp and showing out both in the joint practices they've had and now in the game last night, I think it solidified his roster spot.
Do you want to go like I don't know, one for one, or do you want to just me to rattle off a couple, and then we just kind of go back and forth, or how do you want to do it?
You guys are the ones with all the secrets. You tell me.
Uh, okay, I'll give you one more. I think all three of the young corners looked okay yesterday. Wright and Joseph both made plays on the ball. They both were late to plays on the ball, also. So I think it's just rookie type stuff or whatever. And it really didn't really have a lot of pressure on the quarterback. That's kind of what I wanted to say. I wanted to bring that up. I think last week. I don't think we got to it. Is that? Oh no, maybe I did. Is that the pressure was pretty good on the quarterback. The Bronco quarterbacks early, and that's when the rookie corners were looked better last week.
Right.
And then as it faded, it got worse. Down the line and. That wasn't necessarily the same thing that happened this week, but they both made plays. Bland's didn't. Uh, he didn't really stand out, but he also didn't get burned by anything. So that's another thing. I think he did give a crosser across the middle, which isn't the end of the world because that's kind of just what happens. You can't really stop that. But I thought all the corners looked okay. None of them were amazing, and none of them were awful. So that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would have to add to that was, and I suppose it's really not that big of a deal because it does unfortunately happen all the time, was that Wright did just whiff on an open field tackle, and it was pretty painful to watch. Um,
I mean,
but
with his size
In
too,
the in the first half.
I don't recall. I just know it was on a screen or passed out into the flat, and he just fucking whiffed.
Oh, okay.
I definitely have. I wouldn't say it's a highlight. Oh, I mean, I have the clip somewhere. I can send it to you. I don't recall the the half though.
I'm gonna try to watch the game and take notes while getting climbed all over by children. It doesn't make it the easiest thing to memorize exactly.
Yeah.
Did they
You know,
score on
play
that
for
play?
play.
Steve? No.
No. I mean, it was it
They
wasn't.
scored
That's why it
on
wasn't
the play.
necessarily a big deal. But it was a screen or like I said, a pass out into flat that really should have been stopped in the backfield. Made it obviously into the secondary and right whiffed, and it went for I don't know 4 or 5 more yards after that. Um, but regardless, it was a tackle that should have been made by numerous people before Wright. But I just saying that Wright also
Sure.
whiffed while we're
Sure.
talking about him. But it does happen. Not the end of the world. At least not yet. Did you have anything else, Will, you wanted to throw out there?
I got one more. I thought. I don't want to just take all of Stash's stuff, or maybe possibly, but I thought Jabril Cox looked pretty good too. He made he made a nice play out in the flat on like a wide receiver. I don't know, screen or running back. I can't remember, but out and where he had to go chase. I think he stuck the runner at the line of scrimmage and behind the line of scrimmage twice.
Yeah.
So that's good too, and that's what he's supposedly not good at. Is the run game. He's really good, running, and he's really good in pass coverage. But to see him going forward and hitting running backs behind the line of scrimmage and them falling, it doesn't matter if you're the first string running back or the third string running back. If you're all those guys can play in the NFL. So if you're sticking the dude and moving him back, that counts for something.
Yeah, it's a good play. Big deal. Big stuff. Joshua, what do you got for us? Or what are your takeaways?
I'll save the biggest takeaway from the game for a little later, but going into this off season and then preseason and these couple of games, I've been pleasantly surprised by the defensive tackle depth that Dallas is showing. Because I think we can all agree, like going into preseason, we would say, and coming off of last season, Carlos Watkins was a guy that we were probably fairly certain would be a lock for the team.
Mm.
And I would say right now, he's probably on the cut list. Just based off of some of the other guys who are showing up and showing out. And that's not something I would have thought of going into the game just based off of, or going into this preseason based off of the resources that they throw at that position.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I'm not falling for this shit. I still have questions about the defensive line. Yeah, there's depth there, but Dallas has like almost always had depth at the defensive line, but they've just been dudes they got they sign in from fucking their local food line. I don't know. They've always thrown late round picks at it, which is great, and it never pans out to anything. I'm just not buying this yet. Yeah, I agree they've looked halfway decent through the preseason so far, but I'm not convinced it's anything to be excited about.
They have a lot of draft picks, high draft picks in the defensive tackle position, man.
High?
Like a lot, yeah. Second and third round, fourth round guys. Those are high round picks. What do you mean?
Who the fuck are their second and third round picks at defensive tackle besides Tristan Hill?
Tristan Hill?
That's one. That's not.
What was Neville Gallimore?
4.
Okay, I said 2, 3, 4, right? Odighizuwa?
Second year player, right?
I'm just saying, but yeah.
That's what I'm like. We're banking on all of these dudes to finally figure it out. Like,
they only have one first round draft pick every year. So how many high picks could they put into one position that most teams in the NFL don't value in the first place? That's why I'm like, I don't understand.
I've also just never said that they need to consistently
you're right.
First round picks into it.
Look at the good teams. Look at the teams that won the Super Bowl the past 5 years or whatever. They got elite defensive tackles.
Who?
Aaron Donald.
Rams.
Yeah, Aaron Donald. So he's a once-in-a-generation player.
Yep.
Bucks. Okay. Chiefs.
Yeah, Chris Jones, I guess. Yeah. Who's on Tampa Bay?
Vita Vea, I assume, is who he's talking
Vita Vea?
Yeah, I don't know. If you want to say that Vita Vea is changing games, man,
changing games.
Okay.
But either way, I mean, yeah. So they finally invested in Odigizua last year, right? Who was a third round
I
pick.
think, yeah,
Like,
he was one of their thirds. They
and
had what, three?
he played well. I mean, I expect him to continue to play well, but again, until we see them consistently not get throat fucked in the run game, I'm just not buying into this. That's all.
What do you want them to? What could they have done in the preseason so far that would have changed your mind? Because they've basically been on. They can't. They haven't been. The first two teams haven't been able to run the ball yet.
I'm. I mean, it's the preseason. Are you seriously buying into stock that, like, man, Dallas's run defense is phenomenal all of a sudden?
I'm saying it's pleasant. It's a surprise. I mean, we bashed them last week because the penalties will look the same as the end of last season. The run game so far, they haven't done it. So I got to say, hey, that's an improvement. And maybe that's Dan Quinn getting guys in for another year and things like that, or they're finding the right guys. So I'm just saying that's an improvement.
Sure.
It's good
Yeah.
to see
For now.
positive for now. I mean, but this is what we've seen so far. So improvement. And I like the depth. I mean, the whole defensive line in general, because defensive ends too, their dudes are showing up too. Sam Williams is making plays. Uh, freaking Fowler made play last night too. So
And he got fined.
Yeah. I said last week that Terrell Basham's not getting cut or traded. I took that back immediately after the first play of the game when he jumped off sides.
he's on the cut line.
He is. I just figured, okay, there's that. I still don't think he's gonna get cut. I think he's definitely the last person on the list, I guess now, and somebody would take him for something late. I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't look good.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean they do. I mean the defensive. Like I've been saying it. The defensive line is everybody they have on there can play in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't know how many teams can say that. That they're not trying. I mean,
Yeah,
everybody
but
can play in the NFL because they're on an NFL roster. But everybody on their team could play multiple snaps on all their
That's
teams.
awesome, but I mean, being able to brag about that is about the same as being able to brag that the Dallas Cowboys had the most amount of different players that scored a touchdown last year, right? Like it did absolutely nothing for the team. Like, so what? You can cut a Carlos Watkins and he'll get signed by another team. That doesn't do anything for Dallas. So you have 7 or 8 dudes on the defensive line who can be a 75 overall in Madden. Like, who cares?
Oof.
I'm
Okay.
just like, until it produces something, who cares? I mean, they had depth last year at defensive tackle. Who cares? It didn't do anything besides get ran over. That's all.
I don't think the depth between last year and this year are even remotely close to the same thing. But okay.
I mean, how is it not?
The players are almost all the same.
You added Jonathan Ridgeway and no one else.
Right, but Jonathan Ridgeway is he's the last defensive tackle on the team too.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So the depth is the same.
But the other guys just got another year of experience in the NFL. They got to go through a whole off season that they didn't have to go through before. So that's good. Like in Madden, those guys went up a few more points. If they were 75s, they could be 80s now, and now 80s are good.
I think 75s are pretty good for your backups, but I mean that's a whole different story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was just a number, but that's what I'm saying. Like, again, yeah. I'm not saying there hasn't been improvement, but like I think you guys are getting excited about being able to cut somebody like Carlos Watkins again. Like, who cares? Because everybody else is just as expendable as Carlos Watkins. I don't know. Like, they're all the same.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it.
We'll see. I mean, like, it's early. I mean, they got to prove it in a real game too.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Until they prove it in a real game, there's nothing for me to get excited about.
Right. Yeah, but
well, how about this? I'm gonna are you excited about the return game now?
Or who?
Well.
Yeah, you. Are you excited about the return game after seeing what you saw last night?
I'm not any. So both of those plays were extremely impressive, but I'm not any more excited about the return game than it was last year. I mean, we saw Tony Pollard fucking return a touchdown. Or like,
Yeah, once.
okay,
Right?
like the dude had two amazing plays. That doesn't mean he's gonna have, be able to do that twice every game. And that actually would bring up one of my points is I don't know that this preseason game was necessarily as impressive as the score dictates, considering 12 of their points came off of special teams. Right? Like
I think that's what makes it impressive because when was the last time Dallas you were afraid of Dallas special teams?
I don't think this game need.
If,
I don't think
if,
one
if you
game is
The
not a
kick
reason to be
return.
afraid of a team's special teams. Like that's not a
Well,
thing.
of course, it 100% is.
Hmm.
Any special teams coach now will not kick him the ball because
They
the
said the same
starting.
thing about Devin Hester, and they still kicked to him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't avoid them all. The things happen. Shanked punts, kicks, whatever. I mean, yeah. So then he makes him pay. But first of all, the kick return was really good last year. Like Tony Pollard had one of the best kick return averages in the league. The punt return has done nothing for years. Like that's something since Des Bryant, they used to let Des Bryant return punts, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, can we just kind of chop that in the butt, nip that in the butt?
but here's the thing too, like if
We agree.
we can admit Tony Pollard was good last year,
Yeah.
and they're telling you this guy's better than what Tony Pollard did.
I mean, the other 10 dudes still need to make lanes. It's not a Cavante Turpin solution. It is the other 10 dude solution, right? Like, you're not going to sit here and tell me CeeDee Lamb or Tony Pollard could not have made those runs. They might not have, but they very well can. And no, I'm not saying CeeDee Lamb should be returning punts at this point in his career, because he shouldn't. But
He's your number one wideout. He definitely
they didn't put Pollard. I don't know. Did he return any punts last year? And if it was very, very. I think they just don't like he's. I don't know. He's too big to be a punt returner.
Right.
Not that like Des Bryant was too big or whatever, but like he was,
But I'm just saying,
special.
It's been a while since Dallas has had a weapon back there that makes teams second guess. Where we want to kick this, or do we have to kick this out of bounds? Things like that. That's just something Dallas hasn't invested in.
So what about this? I know it wasn't called. Okay, the kick return was really good because he adjusted like mid, like 15, 20 yards up, adjusted, and then broke it to the outside. He's just fast, so he outran everybody.
Are you saying on the punt return there was a block in the back?
There was at least one and probably two. So luckily, hopefully you catch that break. You know what I'm saying? But there definitely was one. It was I think 48 or 49.
Yeah, it was basically the one that broke it open in the right.
Yeah, they finished it. Yeah. So that, but it's. Let's be real. It'd be nice. We probably don't get that break in a regular season game like that gets called or whatever. But it's nice that it happened.
Yeah, you're gonna have those every game. So.
Can I agree with Stash that this is a good? I agree with him that I think special teams coaches are now on notice that this dude can make plays. So you return two even in a preseason game, but that doesn't mean
two about him. It's not like he hasn't done it in competition before outside of college. He was in the USFL, and this is what he did in the USFL.
Yeah.
And yes, it's not the NFL, but that's better than college. For the most part.
No, you're right. It is.
He's done it in a professional setting, and then Dallas just took a flyer on him, and he's doing it now again. So.
Sure. I don't know. People said the same. I'll go back to what I said. People said the same thing about Devin Hester and Deshaun Jackson. He was returning kicks.
They
kicked to him, and they burned him every time. They're not going to just all of a sudden not kick the teams. I don't think this is any sort of notice to other special teams coordinators. And again, until this happens on a more consistent basis, and I'm not saying he has to score a touchdown every game, but until he has more deep returns on a consistent basis in a game that matters, I don't know. They were electrifying plays, but I don't know. They're still going to kick to him. They're not going to just start kicking out of bounds. I don't know. That's
okay. But even if they just stop, I don't really understand what you're arguing though. So were you not impressed by the runs?
I couldn't do it, so yeah, I was impressed. No, but so you guys are both saying oh man, the league's on notice. I don't think the league is on notice because that could have been anybody back there, and as long as the other 10 dudes are fucking blocking, Those.
I
I
don't
mean, you
agree,
even
dude.
just said yourself before the punt return probably wouldn't have happened if there was a block or two in the back. So therefore, that just says that play
They weren't
wasn't even
called.
electric
Yeah,
because it was.
he still did make the first two guys miss without the. So I mean, there was still. I mean, he was still going to get 15, like 10 to 15 yards out of nothing, where he should have gotten tackled right. He made the first guy miss immediately.
Yep.
And if you're listening to can I just say something else too? This is a side note. The Chargers broadcast is a joke. They're not good. They're announcers. They're really, or whatever, the TV people, whatever. They suck. It's real bad. They didn't have they couldn't pronounce, like, I know they don't follow the Cowboys. They couldn't pronounce like half the Cowboys names.
They didn't pronounce his name wrong. Bad.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I do too. But like, but it was just.
But you're not getting paid to do it.
Yeah, well, that too. But like, it was a lot of things like that. I should have. That's what I should have taken notes on. It was multiple things in the first half that they just, and it was San Diego related too. They just sucked. They were no good, not prepared. It was sad. It's just yeah, they're working out their own kinks. Good point. But that's a nationally televised game. They should have been prepared.
I think there was a lot of positive things. I mean, Tyler Smith looked good again in his snaps, but to go back, I don't want to rain on the parade because we've bashed this dude for multiple times, but they need a new swing tackle because Josh Ball's not that dude. And I know I probably said that before, but yesterday was not a good game for him again. So
It was better than the first week, but yeah, it's still, yeah, we've all said this in one way or another, is that we think there's going to be a swing tackle, a new one in there before week one. We just don't agree on how it's getting to that point.
But yeah, I'm just saying at this point, you need to get that person on the team so you can see him and make sure that he's better.
Yeah, see, I mean, that's what I'm saying. We just don't agree on how it's going to happen. Like, because that guy is not that guy there. Who is that player? Jason Peters? You going to get him out of retirement or something?
I don't know. I'm just saying whether you go sign somebody or you make the trade, do it now.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think the Cowboys are going to give up any talent? They're gonna just
give up a sixth or whatever for somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I prefer to do that too. A late pick for a guy, but what they're going to do is they're going to wait for the cuts and they're going to pick the cheapest dude that'll come there. But that person is still going to be an upgrade over Ball. Because they're going to get somebody like what was the dude's last name from last year? I mean, Inseki. I mean, they're going to get that guy who's got a couple starts in his career, and you don't really want him on the field, but he's still better than Ball because you don't want Ball on the field either, right?
Yeah. But they need to. I think that decision has to be made before this next game, and even before week 4. Like, he needs to be in here week 4 of preseason. He needs to be playing in that game.
Well, that's this week essentially, right? Like, there's only one preseason game left.
Well, the big week is this coming week, right? Or is there only 4?
That's the last.
There's only one more. Yeah, there's only one more game. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's why I would agree. Whoever they're gonna trade for, sign, whatever it is, needs to get in this week. And I would just still go back to this. Just shows just Dallas's poor planning for this position. I don't know. Like, they know Tyron Smith's gonna miss games. Their answer to Tyron Smith missing games was a rookie who was hurt, which I understand you can't plan for, and Josh Ball, who they might as well have said themselves that they didn't have any fucking faith in. Sure, let him take snaps. He's a second-year player. You hope for improvement, but it seems like everybody in the world knew that Josh Ball was never going to be the answer.
They were hoping, but they were hoping he'd come back stronger off his injury season, and he's on the ground a lot. So just don't think that's the case.
I mean, let's be. He's not getting cut though either. Let's be real.
Unless they bring somebody else in.
I still don't think he's getting cut.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily calling for him to be cut. Just, I mean, I wouldn't. I guess I would have to look at what a 53-man roster would look like if you were trying to cut him. Like, who are you making that space for?
But, I assume they find a way to get him to the IR or something. You know, look, every team does it where somebody just gets an injury, like he throws his back out when he's tying his shoe, right? And then that's a full season IR type shit, you know.
It's life altering.
But I mean, they gave Terrence Steele all these chances, and whether you agree with what they did or not, he's an NFL starter, and maybe they think they can still do the same thing with Ball. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's bad. If that's the case, if that's what they're hoping for, I think that's just gross
Yeah.
negligence, I guess, if you will, or whatever. But
But
Farniak looked good as well. Him and Tyler Smith paired together were making a lot of pretty big holes there. So that looked
yeah, I
nice.
think Barniak solidified himself as the guard center backup, especially at least center. But
I wonder. I mean, he's making the team, right? But I wonder if he's center only, right? Because I wonder if McGovern's the first guard up.
maybe or could,
I assume he is. Yeah. Right. I mean,
I think it still depends on what side of the. He can't play on the left side.
So it's Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, Bidaz, right? As
Gosh.
Stephen Jones calls him. Yeah. Stephen Jones used to call him Bidaz, right? Zach Martin and Steele, right? And then you got Farniak, McGovern, and Ball right now. You're not carrying more than 8, right?
Avante Collins maybe.
Yeah, or the guy from south of the border too.
Oh,
Isaac Alicorn.
Alicorn. Or I can't say his last name with his.
See, you think, man? See, that would surprise me because if keeping 9 guys and 2 of them are tackles.
I mean, Isaac could take Josh Ball's spot at this point.
Okay, yeah, but those guys, yeah, they're both tackles though. Like if Collins or Alicorn, those are both tackles.
Yep, I would say McGovern's your backup guard. Barniak's your probably backup guard, and then maybe you get a guy that can play tackle and guard. I don't know.
I just assume like at some when we do our 53-man roster joint that we're gonna try to set up. That's we gotta do that pretty soon now.
I got mine. One.
Maybe that's breaking news. Maybe that's something we're doing this week.
Yeah,
maybe.
Because we're running out there, right? How soon is they got to do it a couple days after the last game, right?
Yeah.
Because first game of the year is is it September? Is it the first week of September or the second week of September when they play Tampa?
The 11th, I think. So
second.
Yeah, second week. Yeah, I mean, so the cuts are coming. So yeah, we're gonna have to plan that out. But I guess what I'm getting at is if they're gonna they might possibly keep extra guys at defensive line, right? Or the defensive backs, right? You assume that they're going to, because that's kind of where a lot of their talent is. They got to go short somewhere, so they can't keep all the shitters on the offensive line. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think,
they could. Yeah, they could.
I mean, all the cuts are going to happen for the most part after the game.
Yeah.
They need all those guys to play in the second half or fourth quarter, whatever, whenever the real players are coming out.
I wonder has anybody said anything about any of the regulars going to play even in week 3 or week 4? I guess
they better.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I kind of would like to see a couple people for a little bit, but yeah,
you can't be. They need at least a half to 3/4 of a game. They need to get ready.
Wouldn't it have? Jesus Christ!
I honestly would have liked to see him this past game.
Well, they should have played the first game, right? In case anybody does get hurt, that gives them 3 extra weeks to heal for week 1, right?
They should have been playing from the start because you can't shake off the rust in week one. Week 1, that game counts.
Buck, there's 17 games. You can get rid of one.
Okay.
That's just how they're. I mean,
yeah, I'm right with them not playing until the last one, which I guess is this weekend. There's no need for me to see any of the major. Yeah, there's no reason for me to see Dak in the first week of preseason. I don't know. I think that's crazy.
Do you want Dak in next week or no?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have no problem with him playing the last preseason game. So yes, I would like to see at least a quarter's worth of play out of him. I think. Yeah, I guess depending on how the first drive or so goes, but. Yeah, anything more than that, I don't know is necessary.
Speaking of Dak, did you see on the NFL Top 100 whatever list they go and just came out, he was 42nd or 44th, something like that?
44.
It's a reasonable number. I assume that they have some way of predicting, or how many quarterbacks are ahead of them. Do they say what's
I didn't.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
But 2 other Cowboys have yet to been named that they think could be ahead of him, and that's Micah Parsons, and Diggs has not been named yet, but I don't know if that just means he's not a top 100 player. So.
Oh my God, he definitely is, but
Yeah,
I don't know if he's. Well, off of last year, he probably is ranked. The rankings are dumb. First, I mean, 100% of the way they're just dumb. But yeah,
Agreed. So.
Free Dak.
Yeah. Free Dak. Probably one guy that's suffering from Dak's maybe absence, if we want to say suffering, is Tolbert, who I think he had another drop in last night's preseason game, which would make consecutive weeks. I know it's hopefully no big deal, but he did have this issue in college. But consecutive weeks of drops, it's not really something exciting either.
He did have a college touchdown though.
Right, he did. Which would have who threw that to him? Rush, because I think I remember
Rush,
thinking I was like, oh man, yeah, poor Rush would like to have that on the stat line, but yeah, I just want to throw that out there. Something else to just keep an eye on.
Speaking of Cooper Rush, what do you guys think about? I mean, I know it doesn't really matter, but backup quarterback, Cooper Rush or Will Grier?
I think it's got to be Will Grier. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Neither one of them had many opportunities yesterday. Like the 2 special teams touchdowns are nice, but they basically had no offensive snaps. Like Cooper Rush had what did he have? 2 drives in the first half, and I think Will Grier had 2 as well. But they were, you know what I mean? They didn't have a lot of plays at all.
Yeah.
And with how many times they ran the ball, on top of it, I don't know. It's a tough question though too, because I don't know. Cooper Rush won in Minnesota last year, which that's going to probably carry a lot of weight, but he really doesn't impress. Basically, I mean, he did. Let's not get real either. I mean, he didn't play great in that game. It's not like he torched the Vikings.
Oh yeah, he won
the
on
defense
the
won the
last
game.
drive of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the only touchdown I think too, or the only passing touchdown. I think it might have been the only touchdown Dallas had, right? Because the game was like
12-10 or something, or 9
stupid,
or some shit. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of like that Will Grier can run a little bit, so that's nice. And he's just tiny, though. You know what I mean?
Is he really?
I mean, if you, I could pull it up right here next, but just looking at him on the field, he looks, significantly smaller than Cooper Rush on the field, which maybe he's just thinner, maybe,
They're the same. Cooper Rush is 2 inches taller.
Oh, of course, if you just Google it, it doesn't tell you how much they weigh.
215.
Is that Rush or?
That's Will Grier.
6'1", 215. 225 according to ESPN.
Yeah. Okay. I would have. Man, that's amazing. I would not have guessed that. I would have thought he was significantly bigger than him. Wow. Okay. Whatever. I did. Will Grier did make the best throw of the first half, like a 10-yard in cut, or like a button hook kind of type of deal to Fihoku, where he threw it into tight coverage. He was hit. He basically turned around. The ball was hitting him in the face. Yeah. But that ball easily could have got picked though too, man. He decided right away the zing, and he's got a little gunslinger to him, which is okay. I mean, maybe that's how he's got to win games,
Yeah. I don't know if that's the type of guy I want as my backup, but maybe.
Who do you want as your backup?
Yeah, it doesn't matter who the backup is.
I think
comes in, you're going to suck.
Backup quarterback, I'd want somebody who, maybe doesn't have that gunslinger mentality, just who's going to be like a game manager.
Well, that's why they have Dak.
Yeah. I mean, what do you need a game manager for? You don't have. I mean, I assume, and I'm doing a whole lot of assuming here, obviously, but I assume if you want somebody as a game manager, as your backup quarterback, you're at least banking on the run game being either highly effective or at least relatively efficient, and CeeDee Lamb not to be dropping.
I'm just saying in general. I just didn't say for that. It was just more of a general philosophy.
Okay.
But just because, pretty much you're not practicing with that backup, so you're not going to be doing all these gadget plays or whatever. Like, what's the old Bill Parcells quote or whatever? If whoever's out, we're fucked, and we don't practice fucked. So
Yeah.
So you're just gonna want somebody that can basically run the offense, but maybe won't take as many risks as you would maybe your starter. So
Yeah, just go get John Kitna again.
Hey, he was good. He was good in Cincinnati.
Ochocinco was good in Cincinnati.
He was really good.
so was TJ Houshmandzadeh.
All right. I guess anything else? That was pretty much everything from the preseason game.
Yeah.
Did you see actually Ridgeway hit a dude on the ground?
No, I did not.
So it was like another stupid little screenplay. Running back tripped up and just fell down, and instead of just like tagging him to be down, he actually fucking hit him as he was trying to get back up. I think I have that highlight somewhere also. I can send you guys out that was
The pain and agony.
comical. There's no flag. It would probably be flagged in a I guess a normal.
Ferguson, you like that nice run after catch he had?
Yeah,
that
was a good one too.
It's good. Good to see the young Bucks get some plays, make some plays. I'll tell you what, man. I know I said Mukamu's gonna make the team. Bell's making the team too, man.
Oh, Marquise Bell, yeah, safety. Yeah.
They're gonna have to carry 5 safeties, or Steve's gonna be right. They're gonna cut Wilson.
I think they're all making the team right now. Special teams is big too.
That's a lot. That's a lot, though. I mean, to carry 5 safeties is a lot. That's not Jeff.
They technically might carry 6. CJ Goodwin.
No, he's a corner.
Is he?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, right. He's not a defensive player at all. He goes on a defensive field. That's not good.
But what happens if, say, you carry 5 safeties, and maybe you carry 1 less corner?
Who are you cutting though? Like what?
Joseph or Wright, maybe?
Well, you got to bring 5. You bring 5 to game day.
Corners, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, maybe that 5th corner is one of your safeties because you just play him and have him go against the tight end or something like that. Because like you're gonna probably put Curse against the tight end, and then you can put another safety back high.
This is madness. I don't know. I'm still. I personally would not be cutting Joseph or Wright to make a fucking roster spot for Goodwin.
Oh, Goodwin's gonna make the team. Like he's on the 53.
But if it came down to Goodwin or one of the other two, actual corners, taking the actual corner, and they'll fucking figure it out on special teams. I don't know.
You take Goodwin's gonna have more of an impact on the team than Curse or than Wright or Joseph. So you take Goodwin 100 times out of 100.
Well, what if instead of getting that nutty, why don't you just get this kind of nutty? Why don't you just make Nashawn Wright the specialist and not the corner? Why don't you just have him like he's in this sub package, right? Where Wright plays in sub package, right? Where he's on the tight end.
Who would you rather on the tight end, Wright or Curse?
Oh, then you play Curse in the box in a passing situation. Then you get LVE off the field. Because you don't care about being light, the weight wise in the box. I'm just saying that it's an option. If they like him so much, I really we talked about this last time, man. I think we talked about this a bunch of times. I just be really shocked if they move on from Joseph or Wright because they're second and third round picks last year.
Yeah,
unless it's a trade. I mean, I could see a trade, right? I'm not proposing one being done, but yeah, there's just no way they cut either of those dudes. Barring and stash, like you said previously, unless it's non-football related, right? Like if they turn out to be fucking murderers.
But we'll see.
Yep.
It'll be interesting. I mean, that's why we're not in the front office or on the coaching staff. We don't have to make those decisions. They can figure that shit out.
Maybe we should be.
Maybe we should be.
They should have a contest. You know how like that wide receiver that. They had that TV show and he made
Jesse Holly.
Jesse Holly, right? Yeah. They should have that. We should have a contest where they just have fans come on and scout players or something, and whoever like gets closest to whatever grades they have or something gets an internship.
That's pretty cool.
Okay.
I just thought about that off the top of the dome, boys. Jerry, Steven, Call your boy. Here all day.